Greetings, fellow music nerds, and welcome to Season 9 of the Music Makers and Soul Shakers podcast. I am your host, Steve Dawson, coming to you from the Hen House Studio in Nashville, Tennessee. This season, I'll be taking you on a journey down the many rabbit holes in the process of making great music. I'll be speaking to instrumentalists, songwriters, producers, up-and-comers through legendary veterans, and we'll go deep into their history and their process of creating unforgettable music. This podcast continues to be listener-supported. You can help keep the show going with a Patreon subscription, and for as little as a few bucks a month, you'll support the show and get entered into our incredible giveaway that I'll be talking about throughout the season. You can get links to all this at makersandshakerspodcast.com. And if you can't do that, please subscribe for free to the show at Apple Podcasts or Spotify. That helps us out greatly as well. Meanwhile, a huge thanks to the main sponsors this season. Please check them out and let them know I sent you. They are Larrivee Guitars, Chase Bliss Pedals, Fab Filter, Odyssey Headphones, Railtown Mastering, Isotope, and the Hen House Hang. We absolutely could not produce this show without them. All right, thanks for tuning in. Let's get down to it with another episode of Music Makers and Soul Shakers. Hey there, music nerds, and welcome to episode number 192. And today on the show, I am joined by Eddie Angel, guitarist and founder of Los Straitjackets. Before we get going, I just want to remind you that you can support the show, and we need your support. And what you can do is you can support the show, and you also get entered into our giveaway at the end of the year, which is coming up in either 2 or 3 more episodes. It's supposed to be 2, but I might do another one. I don't know. In any case, it's coming up, and if you support the show on Patreon right now, you get access to our first 80 or so episodes that are very cool. Some of those first ones are some of my favorite ones, actually. And you will automatically be entered into the draw for some incredible stuff, like a Larrivee guitar, a D40. That's up for grabs here. We've got a pair of incredible headphones made by Odyssey, the MM100s, a Chase Bliss Brothers AM pedal. It's a wicked overdrive pedal. If you haven't checked it out, you should. And a Fab Filter Essentials plug-in bundle. Some stuff from Spectre 1964, and some cool pedals from Union Tube and Transistor. So you can sign up at makersandshakerspodcast.com. There's links there. Join the Patreon, help out the show, and win some stuff. It's easy, and your chances are pretty darn good, I gotta say. I think it's about 1 in 60 that you will walk away with a brand spanking new guitar in hand in a couple weeks. Some new subscribers and people that supported the show this week: Ian McDonald, Dennis Rambo, that's a cool name. Michael Lagasse or Lagas, I'm not sure. Sorry, Michael, if I said that wrong. Ray LaMontagne, I'm not sure if that's Ray LaMontagne. If it is, cool. If not, it's somebody with the same name as a very cool singer and songwriter. So thank you one and all for your support. I really appreciate it, and it does help keep the show going, and hopefully go on it will into the future. All right, so today on the show, I am speaking with Eddie Angel. He lives here in Nashville. He's the guitarist. He's also a producer and one of the founding members of the legendary instrumental surf rock band Los Straitjackets. Eddie grew up in Southern California, and he was steeped in classic rock and surf music, vintage guitar tones, and he spent decades helping keep that spirit alive while pushing it into new territory. Eddie came up as a well-respected guitarist in the California rockabilly scene. He moved to Nashville sometime in the 80s to work with the band called the Planet Rockers. And sometime in there, he formed a new band that became Los Straitjackets. They put out their first record in 1995, and they also donned some very spiffy luchador masks, Mexican wrestling masks, and have basically never taken them off since. They've gone on to record 14 studio albums, 8 live albums, a bunch of collaborations that are super cool. And what started as an instrumental surf outfit quickly became something much bigger, blending rockabilly, garage rock, country, and cinematic guitar music into a sound that is unmistakably their own. Eddie's also had a really fascinating part of his career as a collaborator and musical director, most notably with Los Straitjackets teaming up with Nick Lowe. And that partnership has gone on for years, and it's something they both continue to explore when the opportunities arise. I don't think it's like a regular thing, but it seems to be quite often that they get together and do tours and records. So check those out. There's also some great collaborations with people like Deke Dickerson and Eddie Clearwater that are just a great example of interesting musical things that come along when you stay open to weird ideas. So in this conversation, we talk about Eddie's early influences, the origin and evolution of Los Straitjackets, what his life is like balancing musicianship and image and keeping a band together, and what he's learned from a lifetime of playing, producing, and collaborating at the highest level. So please now enjoy my conversation with Eddie Angel. Well, maybe we could start just by talking about kind of the concept of like instrumental music. And, you know, it's something that you've basically done your entire career, which is pretty impressive because, like when you think about the style of, you know, that sort of surf instrumental song that when it first came out, like that shit was popular.
Yeah.
And huge in the charts. And it's not like that anymore.
Right.
But you've managed to carve out a career for you and the band.
Yeah. It wasn't by design.
No?
Not really. Well, I'll start at the beginning. I mean, when I started out playing guitar, I mean, I was 12. I was born in 1953, so I heard the Beatles in 1964, and that was it. I mean, I wanted to play guitar in a rock and roll band, like everybody did.
Yeah, man. I've had like 25 people on the show that were like,
I know.
Ed Sullivan, man.
Yeah, that's how it affected everybody. And there was bands in every garage on the street. Somebody had a garage band. And, you know, we do Wipeout and Louie Louie and those songs. But I remember I took a couple lessons from a guy a little older than me, and he showed me Walk, Don't Run by the Ventures. Not that I wanted to learn that, but that's what I would rather have learned She Loves You probably. But he showed me that. And then I had to learn guitar with the Ventures record. That was a really cool record.
I don't know that record. Is that like, that wasn't literally an instructional record?
Yeah, it was.
Was it really?
Yeah, it was. Yeah. I mean, it was an instructional thing, and it was pretty well done, you know. They took, I think there was like...
What were they doing? Playing their hits and then like breaking
track,
them down?
Yeah, they would play like, here's the bass track, here's the rhythm guitar, here's what the lead does, like a Memphis and stuff, yeah.
It was done very as if it was a lesson, or was it kind of done like tongue-in-cheek? Like
No, it was very serious.
Okay.
Just learn the song, yeah.
I got to check that out.
So, yeah, I had that in my background. But again, I wanted to play in a band like the Beatles, you know, or you know, Rolling Stones, but that was in my background. And then around early 70s, when I was around 19 or 20, I went to California. I had met this guy named Dave Bloom, who was a piano player. It's a long story, but we thought we were going to write songs. We were going to be Lieber and Stoller, you know. So he was from California. He was from L.A. And so I went out there to try to write songs. And I had a few songs. I had some connections in New York at this time at the Brill Building, of all places. And they gave me a card for a publisher in Hollywood. Said, if you ever have a song, go see these people. It was Leeds Music in Hollywood. So me and my friend Dave Bloom go down there. I had a few songs, and they're like, yeah, we're interested. You know, we want you guys to come in here every day and use the studio.
Which studio was this?
It was just a studio at the publishing company. It was It was Leeds Music, right across the street from Capitol Tower on Vine.
That's exciting.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, and I was 19. I didn't know. I thought this is how it works. You know? And in those days, you could just knock on a door, you know, and go in. You know.
Was Leeds Music the one that Robbie Robertson was signed to?
I don't know.
I think that really rings a bell. I think that might have been the one.
I don't know, but my friend Dave Bloom had a friend from school that would sing our demos, a girl named Deed. She had a good voice. And so she was going with us into the studio. And one day she said, guess who they hired at the publishing company? Duane Eddy.
Whoa.
So now I'm sitting here across from Duane Eddy showing him my songs. And
so he was like an A&R guy?
Yeah, for this publishing company. For
in
a short period of time. And this is
That's crazy.
1972, I think.
Okay, so he was sort of like, he'd sort of crested and was sort of
he was old news, man.
Right, okay.
Duane, in 1973, you couldn't be more square than being some guy from the 50s.
Right.
And Duane Eddy fit, you know what I mean? Nobody wanted to know. But he got this job.
But you were hip to Duane Eddy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Growing up as a kid, his name was synonymous with guitar playing. You know, and but my point of my story is Deed, Abbott, and Duane fell in love.
Yeah, I know Deed.
And they eloped. And this is 1973. Never saw him again until I moved to Nashville, you know, years later. So I'm just trying to make these connections to me and instrumental music, you know. At the same time period, 1973, at the same time as this, my friend Dave said to me one day, hey, I got a gig playing with this guy named Link Ray. And I said, really? Well, get me in the... I had never heard of Link Ray. For some reason, Rumble wasn't on. Maybe it wasn't played at upstate New York. I grew up in upstate New York, Albany. I didn't know it. But I thought, what a cool name, you know? It sounds very futuristic. Like, imagine, picture this guy with a ray gun and a Lincoln. I don't know. You know, but I said, get me in the band. I'll play rhythm, you know? So he had just, Link had just put this record out, Be What You Want to Be, on Polydor. Yeah. So that was what he was putting in the band to promote. But I went to his house, hung out with him, talked to him. He's telling me stories about, you know, hanging out with Elvis. And we got together once and jammed in this garage in North Hollywood. Link was playing a real cheap Japanese guitar, and it was just a racket. It's just complete noise, which makes sense that if you know Link Ray. But I wound up moving back east before a tour materialized. My friend Dave wound up doing a few gigs with Link.
Did you have that gig on offer? Like,
yeah, because Link is so loose, man. You just show up and say, I want to be in your band. You're probably in his band. I for other reasons, I moved back to the East Coast. And so this would have been 73.
Yeah.
And then in the mid-70s, I was playing in bands, a band called the Star Spangled a Washboard Band who toured the East Coast, and we used to play Washington, D.C. a lot. And that led to me
what kind of band was that?
Oh, that was, it was actually, it was quote-unquote bluegrass, but it was like, it was a bluegrass meets the Marx Brothers or something. Okay. There was all this comedy, but we had like a banjo player, a washtub bass player, a washboard player.
What were you playing?
And then they hired me as an electric guitar player. They decided to expand the band with electric guitar, electric fiddle, electric bass.
That classic bluegrass instrument, the electric guitar.
Yeah. So it turned into something else.
Okay.
Completely. But we used to play bluegrass festivals. That was my first trip to Nashville, actually, was with that band.
Really?
And we were on tour with Shanana.
Really?
Yeah.
Opening for Shanana?
Yeah. We did a bunch of dates opening for them. And we did the Municipal Auditorium. And then we also, at the same time, opened for Don Everly at the X and In.
Wow,
Cool. It was really cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know it at the time, but Chet Atkins was in the audience, and people. I would have been a nervous wreck if I knew that. But we met. Their dad was, Ike Everly. I met him.
Wow.
He really dug us. He thought we were.
He was
cool.
a great guitar player, right?
Yeah. Yeah. He really liked us, but Don Everly didn't like us because
he didn't.
No, because we were a hard act to follow. Not that we were better than Don Everly, but it was a shtick. I mean. Like trying a dog and pony show.
Right. Okay, I get it. Yeah. So he just felt like it was a bit funny. Much for an opening band or something.
Yeah. Okay. So, and that's what I heard anyway. I don't know if he didn't say anything to me, but so through that band, and then it'd be funny when I tell them I played with this guy, Link Ray. It'd be like, it would elicit chuckles and guffaws. Oh, really? It was a joke. I mean, if anybody had heard of him, it was like a joke or something.
Really?
Like, sort of. I mean, Link Ray wasn't cool in the 70s.
Yeah.
Dwayne Eddy wasn't cool in this. But in 1980, I got offered to play with this guy in Washington, D.C., Tex Rubinowitz. And he had a band called Tex Rubinowitz and the Bad Boys. And he hired me without even hearing me play because of the Washboard Band. We were so popular in D.C. Because I remember the first time I went there and rehearsed with the band, he said to me, well, I'm really glad you can play guitar already because I already told the guys in the band, you're in the band. He was that kind of guy. He was sort of a visionary. He wasn't...
He was the singer?
Yeah, he was a singer, and he had put out these 245s, one called Hot Rod Man and The Bad Boy on 45s. At that time, if you could put a 45 out and almost have a career from it. But it was getting a lot of airplay in D.C. on WHFS, which was a cool station then.
How did you end up in D.C.?
Well, Tex, this is kind of a long story, but one of the guys, two of the guys in the Washboard Band wound up moving there, and when I was visiting one time, he said, hey, you got to... This is 1979. He said, you got to meet this guy, Tex Rubinowitz. He's a real rocker, We had this, common love of like 50s rock and roll. So out of the blue, I called Tex Rubinowitz up and said, hey, you want to go? Let's go get a beer. And, we met at a girly club for a beer, And anyway, that was just like in... this is probably like in the spring of 79. In the fall of 1975, I get a call from my friend. It was named Scotty Flowers, the drummer. He said, hey, Tex wants to know if you want to join the band. It was like a hand from heaven came down and got me because I'd been, at this point, 79, I was playing in bands in Albany. I was basically a lounge band called Tino and the Revlons. We were playing 50s rock. This guy, Tino, was like a 50s rock and roll guy. So at least I was doing that, but it was still awful. I mean, I was playing 5 nights a week in an Italian restaurant,
A little rough.
So I was, what am I going to do with myself? And then I get this call, you want to join Tex Rubinowitz? And I'm like, yes. So I just go to D.C. on January 1980, and I step into the most popular band in D.C. It was like a dream come true. It was like, I call it my Hamburg years, because it was like, that's what it was like for me. I mean, we were playing rockabilly music.
Every night?
Not every night, but every weekend.
Yeah.
Maybe 3 nights a week.
Wow, that's pretty good.
And packing clubs, and being cool. I mean, like, Tex was like being written up in these New York rocker magazines and stuff. And we'd play New York, and the Cramps would come and hang out with us and stuff like that. The Cramps were big fans of his.
So you were touring regionally?
Tex was, the Washboard Band toured regionally. Tex was strictly D.C. We'd go to New York, and we'd go to like places like Richmond,
Yeah.
That's it. It was mostly DC.
But you could play that much
in
around
DC,
just
man.
that
There was a
area.
lot of clubs.
DC's a real hotspot.
It was.
Like for bluegrass too, and for rock and roll.
Yes, it was.
It's crazy.
There was so much great music there. Anything you want. Jazz. I mean, I think Charlie Bird or something like that had a club at the time. The Bossa Nova guy.
Yeah, yeah.
I was too dumb to go there, but I saw some great music. I saw Danny Gatton.
Yeah, he was around at that time, I guess, right?
So Danny Gatton was
Humbler.
Yeah, man.
What was that like?
Well, I'll tell you, I'd heard about him. I used to think, he can't be that good. Everybody says how good. But I went, and he and Tex, I knew they were good friends because they'd been building Charlie Christian pickups together.
Really?
So I go, I'm there, I get to D.C., I'm there maybe a month. I go see Danny Gatton, and he blows my mind.
Yeah.
He's the best guitar player I've ever seen. And I go to Tex, I said, why'd you hire me? You could have Danny Gatton in your band. And he said, I don't want Danny Gatton in my band. I don't want any musicians in my band. You get
Thanks,
kind of
buddy.
get the picture of how Tex was. Yeah, but I understand now. At the time, it was totally baffling. But now I realize Danny Gatton wasn't going to be in your band.
No.
He's Danny Gatton.
Yeah.
Tex wasn't a band guy.
He'd be a nightmare to be a band member.
Right.
Totally.
Right.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah. So, but anyway,
What was Danny Gatton doing at that time? Did he just have a small combo and he was doing jazz stuff, or was it more of like was he playing like with Robert Gordon or something?
Well, he was doing Robert Gordon, but locally he was playing with a guy named Billy Hancock.
Okay.
So they'd play just a mix of things, mostly kind of rock and roll, rockabilly-esque type stuff, but he would mix jazz in with it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just jaw-dropping when I saw him. I thought, I don't know how he's doing. What's he doing? It just blew my mind.
Yeah.
But he was playing with Billy Hancock. I never saw him do his own show. Well, I did see him doing his own show later on when he put his own album out.
Yeah, that's when I would have seen him.
Like in the early 90s.
Yeah.
But he was playing mostly, it was rockabilly type stuff. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that was the scene I was in. So there was this kind of cool rockabilly scin.
Was Roy Buchanan around there too?
No, he had passed by then.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. He wasn't there anyway. But there was rockabilly bands from New York used to come down and play with us, like the Rockettes and this band called the Zantees.
Yeah.
So I was in this mix of this whole rockabilly scene. And so anyway, so Tex's favorite guitar player is Link Ray. And before every show, because Link had roots in D.C. He spent that's where he was. He wasn't from there, but he spent his formative years in
really
in the early '60s. Yeah,
D.C. of all places.
He wrote Rumble out a dance outside of D.C.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Didn't know that.
Fredericksburg, I think it was in Virginia. Anyway, so Tex used to play before every show. Before every one of our shows, he would put on his tape of Link, early Link Ray stuff.
Okay.
And
just to warm the crowd up.
And so then one day he said to me, "Hey, Eddie, I think we should work up some guitar instrumentals for the show." And I thought, that's a terrible idea. Nobody wants to hear that. Because I thought, in my thinking, looking back, it was, that's what I did when I was 12, starting out, and then Wipeout and Walk Don't Run, But I took to it like a duck to water. We started doing some Link Ray instrumentals. And
so was he was playing guitar too?
He would just play during the instrumentals. He would just play acoustic guitar.
Okay.
There was me on guitar, electric, and another guy named Ratso played a telly.
Ratso.
Yeah, Ratso. Have you ever? Ratso's a character. He used to work with Kinky Friedman. After Tex, and he's in most of Kinky Friedman's books.
Okay.
He's the Washington Ratso. There's a New York Ratso too. Anyway.
Right.
So Ratso played a telly, I played a Strat, and we started doing a couple of Link Ray songs and a couple of astronauts. Anyway, and I started writing instrumentals.
Yeah,
I wrote Rampage and Link's Tale both kind of Link Ray-esque. And that was my first 45, actually. A band that we'd been playing with from New York called Ronnie and the Jitters. The bass player he wanted me to do an instrumental 45, and so he put it all together, and I recorded it with the band up in New Jersey, and that was my first 45, Rampage. And I still play those on Rampage and Link Style. I wound up recording that Rampage with Van, and I recorded it with the Planet Rockers, my band here, and I recorded it with Los Straitjackets, and the version by the Planet Rockers became sort of a hit in England. I mean, in Europe, all of Europe on that scene. You know,
really,
there's DJs playing. Oh yeah. So it was a DJ started playing. You know, there's a cult scene in Europe of rockabilly.
Yeah,
clubs.
I mean, I kind of know, but I mean, I've never been around it.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool. Sunday night I still go to Europe and play these festivals. And they're a lot of fun because they play great records and it's just fun. You know, but it's a whole lifestyle that people adhere to over there, you know. And so that's sort of my backdrop on instrumental music. And then I moved to.
So when you were a kid, how deeply did you go into learning that stuff? Like, did you know all the Ventures tunes?
No. I had a few Ventures albums. I had Adventures in Space.
That's a good one.
Yeah. And
what were some other things that, like, obviously you're influenced by stuff like that, but what are some other, and the Beatles, like, and I hear that even on your new record, it's like, it's still there, clear as day. But what were some other things that you were into, like, as a young musician?
Well, it was on the radio, you know, in the 60s, you know, but me, and I had older siblings. I had 4 older siblings. Three of them were sisters, and there was always records around, and it was rock and roll. It was 50s rock and roll. Yep. So I heard Elvis, I heard Chuck Berry, so I think my brain was wired by the age of 5. You know, they say your brain is wired by 5. I had heard all that stuff, and so that's how I could play like Chuck Berry. I could play like Carl Perkins, and I loved Scotty Moore. But when Hendrix and those guys started coming out, I could not play like that. My brain just couldn't get around.
Did you like it?
Yeah, I did. But I play like Chuck Berry, you know.
Right.
That's just how I was wired. So I had, and that wasn't a great asset to have back then, you know.
Like you kind of felt dated or something. Like,
well, I'd be in a band, I wouldn't be the lead guitar player, you know.
Okay. It feels like it's more of an asset now than it would have been in 1970.
It wasn't an asset until I got with Tex Rubinowitz.
Okay.
And then it was an asset playing in that band. Now I'm playing rock, you know.
Like playing 23-second guitar solos.
Now I'm playing solos to rock and roll songs, you know. Yeah. And it was the first time I realized that, okay, I that's a good thing I can play like Chuck Berry. It's not a negative, you know. And then, so I just ran with that. But I was going to say, so I moved to Nashville. I kind of moved back to Albany from D.C. in the early 80s.
Why?
Why?
Yeah.
Well, Tex broke up the band in 1981. And
what happened to Tex? Is he still around?
He's still around. He's still alive. He's in sort of assisted living now. You know. But
he was older than you.
Yeah, he's about late 70s.
Okay.
Yeah. But he played for a long time. So I moved back up to Albany. I was in a band and
you had family up there still?
Yeah, yes, I was just up there. I have family up there still. So we were playing around there. We had a girl singer named Jeannie Smith and a drummer, and we were getting some interest from like labels in New York. We had a manager, like Marshall Crenshaw was our manager for a while. So we thought that was going to do something for us. But one day, the drummer Dave DeRocher said, "Hey, I think we should move to Nashville."
Why?
Yeah, he had read an article, I think. Okay. You know, and it made sense because guitar music wasn't happening in New York. You know, it's all synthesizers.
Sort of new wave kind of stuff was big happening.
So at least Nashville's still guitar centric.
Yeah.
This was 86. We moved here in February of 1986.
Totally blindly? Like you didn't know anyone here, or?
We didn't know anyone. We had one contact. We had because of a friend in upstate, a guy named John Tishy. He had been in Commander Cody.
Oh, okay.
And he
That's
said,
cool.
He was with Bug Music. He said, I have one connection. Bug Music is in Nashville. So we had this one guy's name, Gary.
That's the publisher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gary Velletri had opened a Bug. Bug started in L.A., but Gary Velletri had opened the Nashville office. This is 1986. So, and just by luck, we contacted him. He had my 45 of Rampage.
Really?
And he thought, whatever happened to this guy, Eddie Angel? You know? And then I show up at his door, you know. So he signed us right away, you know,
as which band?
Well, it was called Jeannie Smith and the Hurricanes.
Okay.
And so we show up here in 1986.
So he signed this band based off of your instrumental song from years before?
No, I think we had a bunch of songs with this girl, Jeannie.
Okay.
I've been writing songs and stuff. And it was a publishing administration. So that's what the deal was.
Okay.
But he hooked us up with people like, oh man, I'm drawing a blank, but Hank DeVito.
Oh, wow.
And we did a demo with him. And
what was he like?
Oh, really nice. We're in another New Yorker, so we kind of had that in common, you know. And Gary Velletri was a New Yorker. I wasn't thinking like that then. To me, they were guys in the music business, you know.
Right. Yeah, I mean, Hank was probably playing with Emmylou Harris at that point, right?
I think so. Or maybe he had just finished that. But there's another guy I'm trying to think of. Dang, they have a birthday party for him every year. I never can think of his name. Anyway, through Gary Velletri, that band got a record deal with CBS Records, and then we got dropped by CBS Records because they said, "You guys aren't country enough." Well, yeah, no kidding, you know. So
like you got dropped before you ever made a record.
We made it. This whole process took like a year, you know, from the time we got talked about getting signed and making the record was like a year, and it was a year of nothing but kind of agony, you know, of like meeting.
Yeah.
You know?
I can imagine. So where were you recording?
At the Money Pit, Eddie Bear's studio.
Is that on Music Row?
No. It's over by the old baseball stadium.
Oh, okay.
You know where that is?
Yeah.
The Money Pit.
It's not there anymore.
I don't know if it's there. Do you know who Eddie Bears is? He was a session drummer at the time.
So, I mean, tell me about coming to Nashville. Like, what did you think of it? How was it? Where did you live? Like, what was going on? Like, 86, it was a little town then.
It was. My first thought was, how did anything good ever come out of here? I can't find anything to do. There's no music. That was the first thing. I mean,
really?
Albany's kind of Palookaville, but there was music everywhere, like they're in bars and stuff. It's a pub culture. It's kind of like England or something, where every bar has a band or something. Here, there was no bands. I mean, that was my first impression, you know.
Yeah, it wasn't really that kind of town.
No, it wasn't.
Especially
all
then.
the music was behind closed doors or in churches, you know.
Yeah.
And I just remember thinking that was my first thought. Like,
it was probably really cheap.
Man, it was so cheap. I wish I bought 5 houses when I was here. You could buy a nice house in Sylvan Park for like $80,000.
Oh my God!
But I didn't have anything. You know, I didn't have.
So where were you living when you first got here?
We lived in an apartment on Elm Hill Pike in Donaldson.
Oh, wow, okay.
Out there, yeah. And it was the most modern place I'd ever lived in.
That must have been like in the country at that point.
Sort of, yeah, it was, yeah. It was sort of out there. But it was, to me, it was luxury because it was a new, every place I lived in was like from the 19th century before that, you know?
Yeah.
And that was my first impression. And we all got jobs and worked. I worked at the Sheraton Music City, you know. Like,
the hotel.
The hotel, yeah.
Doing like bellboy kind of stuff.
Doorman and van driver to the airport.
Okay.
Doorman, I couldn't do that. You had to work your way up to that, man. But I had some funny stories of working there. You know, people like Merle Haggard showing up at midnight.
Really?
With a hooker, yeah.
Okay.
Everybody stayed there. Buck Owens.
Was that downtown?
No, it's up by the airport.
Oh, okay. And that was the play. I guess if you flew into town, that was like
that was
where
one
you
of the places. It was that or Opryland. Those were the two that I think nicest. And there was a Marriott. It was almost like a brand new hotel at that time. Yeah, everyone stayed there. Guns N' Roses. I remember one time coming to work and there was girls hiding everywhere around the bushes. I'm like, what's going on? Some band called Guns N' Roses is staying here.
Well. Yeah. And they were just waiting in the bushes to pop out. And
I guess, yeah. And I get to drive people around, like Alice Cooper. I remember taking him to play golf.
He's a nice guy.
Really nice,
I met him once.
Yeah, super nice.
Loves golf.
Yeah, that's what all he wanted to do was play golf.
Yeah.
Who's the other one? Kenny Loggins.
Really?
I remember asking Kenny Loggins, just making small talk. I said, so have you been to the Country Music Hall of Fame? He said, no, man, I'm rock and roll. I'm thinking, oh, yeah. if you were rock and roll, that'd be the first place you'd go to if you knew anything about rock and roll.
Yeah, man.
But anyway,
so you were a driver too?
Yeah, a van driver. Well, to the airport, but then if somebody
like shuttles, kind of.
Right, but if if there was a celebrity or somebody like that needed to ride somewhere, I would drive them.
Okay, that's funny.
Yeah, I was there for about 4 years, man. That was a long time. So, but getting back to instrumental music, so when we got dropped from CBS, and then the band broke up, and Dave Droscher went on to play drums with Marty Stewart, and his wife Jeannie went on to. She did okay. She wrote a song for Katie Lang, and she sang on a Tammy Wynette record. So they
That's cool.
landed on their feet. And meanwhile, I'm driving, Kenny Loggins around. But yeah, but I was ready to pack it up.
Really?
I thought if this
and just like no music work at all, aside from sort of slogging it out with making.
And that was the thing that bugged me. The whole year I was here, I hardly ever played. I talked to lawyers and managers, and our manager was Barry Coburn.
I don't know who that is.
You know who that is? Okay, no. He went on to manage BR549 and Alan Jackson.
Okay.
Oh, actually, I got another classic Nashville story.
Let's hear it.
So when the band we're managed by Barry Coburn, we lose the CBS drops us, and the band breaks up. And Barry called me up and said, "Hey Eddie, I signed a new client. If you want to come down, try to write a song, with him." So I go to Barry's office on Music Row, and I go into a room, sitting across from a guy with a cowboy hat on, and he's got like a set list from when he'd played the night before, I guess, in Atlanta or something. It's all top 40 country. And I'm thinking, this guy's like a lounge singer, a country singer. Anyway, it was Alan Jackson, and we didn't write a song, but unfortunately.
Oh, man.
But, that would have changed things.
Yeah.
But I couldn't write a song with Alan Jackson. I mean, I wasn't that kind of guy.
Was he even, had he made a record?
No,
yet?
He
was just a guy sort of doing demos or whatever.
Yeah, he was a nobody. I don't know if he had a record deal or not. Yeah. A year later, he was the biggest thing in country music. And I'm still parking cars at the Sheraton. But so I was ready to pack it in because I thought, if this is the music biz, this sucks. I'm just going to go
You're going to go back to Albany or something?
Yeah, I thought, But I was married at this point. I got married in 1987, and I kind of knew I had to make something on myself, but I had a friend Mike Smythe, who owns Frontal Lux Records.
Oh yeah, great record store.
And he said, "No, you should stay, And he says, "I know this guy who's keen to start a band, who's keen to be in a band." And so I said, "Okay, I'll check him out." I said, "I want to start when the band broke up. My first instinct was to start an instrumental band, which made no sense. It was complete,
especially in this town,
career suicide.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And when I tell my friends in the music biz, people like Marshall Chapman, I could see the pity in their face. You're not going to do that, right? But that was my gut instinct,
Yeah.
And I don't know why, it made no sense. But so I had met Danny Amos. Danny Amos. My very first gig in Nashville with the band I moved here with was opening for Webb Wilder at the Exodus.
Oh, cool!
This is 1986.
Awesome gig.
Yeah. So we met that night. I met Jimmy Lester, the drummer, Marshall Chapman, who later became a very good friend of mine, and Danny Amos, who came up to me and said, "Hey man, I never thought I'd ever hear someone play a Link Ray song in Nashville, because I would always do like Run Chicken Run or something."
Okay.
I was now doing this guitar instrumentals every time.
Yeah.
So and he said, "I'm Danny Amos. I was in the Ray Beats." So I was very impressed by that, because the Ray Beats were kind of like a big deal in my world, and I had never seen them, but they just looked so cool and everything.
Yeah.
So I'd met him, and through him I'd met Mike Smythe, and when I'm thinking of doing an instrumental band, my first thought was to Danny. I remember Mike Smythe said, "No man, you're not going to do anything. You can't make it an instrumental music." But I said, "That's what I want to try, So he said, so I had Danny, but he played guitar, but we needed a bass player. I said, so he said, "There's this guy who's keen to be in a band. His name's Sonny George." So I get together with Sonny and Jimmy Lester on drums, and Sonny shows up, and he can't play bass. He's faking it. But so I go back to Mike and I said, "The guy can't play bass, Mike." And Mike said, "It doesn't matter. He's keen to do it. He's keen to start a band." He's got that real English kind of punk rock attitude. But so I'm trying to not be too long here, but I
That's
wound
all
up
right.
doing a band with Sonny called the Planet Rockers,
Yeah.
right? But
So the Planet Rockers started here.
yeah, with me and Sonny. But so before that, so I get together with Danny and Jimmy, and we just decided to do a 3-piece, and Danny playing bass, 1988, and that was Los Straitjackets.
Yeah.
So Danny had only been in instrumental bands. He'd been in the Ray Beats, and he's from Minneapolis. He had been in a band called the Overtones. I think that's the name of it. That's all he's ever been in. So we both had a lot of instrumental songs that we had written, you know.
Yep.
And that was the repertoire. But nothing happened with that. I mean,
So where did he play?
we played we played the X and N. We had like every Tuesday at X and N.
Really?
We actually played the Bluebird once.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow,
Jim
cool.
Hoke sat in, played sax. I think we probably did a
Wow.
Joint Eddie song.
Awesome.
Yeah, we knew Jim, and we played a few other places that are gone now.
Were people coming to see you?
Yeah, we're actually developing a following, you know.
Yeah.
But this is the late '80s. But it sort of dissipated because Jimmy had a tour with Webb Weather, and I started getting together with Sonny, and we did the Planet Rockers. It's a long, tortuous story, but the Planet Rockers wound up doing okay. We toured with Morrissey one time.
Really?
Yeah, I'll tell you
Like as his backing band?
No,
or just
no, as an
opening
opening
for him?
band.
Yeah.
Yeah. We put a record out in England, and Morrissey had heard it and asked us to be his opener for his tour.
Oh, like he specifically wanted
yeah,
you?
he wanted us.
That's so cool.
Yeah, and but here's what's not cool. We get to the tour. The first gig was in Seattle.
Okay.
And we left Nashville. It was the end of October. It's pretty nice out, like this. We hadn't thought about the Rocky Mountains, you know. We get to the Rocky Mountains and it starts snowing.
Dang.
And we're driving through blizzards and whiteouts and like, holy shit, I'm not gonna survive this, you know. We made it just in time to change our clothes and get on stage in Seattle. But anyway, so the tour makes its way down the West Coast, San Francisco, and we get to L.A. and we're playing the UCLA, and we did our set, and then we're in the dressing room, and the cops come in and say, we're advising everyone they should probably leave because people are getting crushed. Morrissey's on stage, and people up front are getting crushed. We might have to stop the show. So we left. You know, there's fire trucks outside and cops, and the next day we find out they did cancel. They stopped the show, and the crowd went on the rampage and stole all the merch except the Planet Rockers merch.
They left it behind.
They didn't want nothing to do with that. Then 2 days later, we were at the Santa Monica Civic Center with Morrissey.
Well, what was the riot about?
Well, because the cops stopped the show. They canceled it.
Because of what?
Well, the kids were getting crushed.
Okay.
Up front. Yeah. There was too many. His LA audience was crazy. I mean,
Really?
Yeah. They were like, I found out that he had a large Latino fan base in LA. That's a big part of his fan base. I don't know if that's their fault, but they're very wild fans in
It
LA.
just kind of got out of
2
control.
days later, we're playing Santa Monica Civic Center. Same audience is there, and they throw pennies at us. Like the whole place throwing pennies at us.
Really? What's that all about?
I probably hated us, I guess. I don't know. I don't know. But that's the stuff you need to experience in showbiz.
Yeah, no kidding.
But that was the Planet Rockers, and I got
So playing your tunes largely?
Yeah, well,
or
they
as
were
kind
rock,
of
they
but
were
all
rock-
instrumental?
Yeah, no. Planet Rockers the Planet Rockers are strictly a rockabilly band with Sonny singing.
Oh,
Sorry
I
about
see.
that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm getting confused. All these stories are being
it's
mixed
all right.
up. But I should probably get on. So let me get on. The Planet Rockers kind of crash and burn. Our bass player, Mark Winchester, got an offer to play bass with Emmylou Harris.
Yeah.
And so Sonny and I got an offer to join a band in Chicago, and I said, "Let's do it, man. Let's go do it." And that was a big mistake. Anyway, I wound up leaving Nashville for a couple of years. I went to Chicago, went to Austin, finally came back to Nashville in 1993, 94. Mm-hmm. And that's when Los Straitjackets started. And it was a complete kind of accident because at this point, I moved back to Nashville in 94, and I'm like, I don't want to be in a band anymore. I just want to get a gig with somebody, hopefully, you know.
Like a back, like
Yeah,
just
I
be
just want to be a
someone's
backup guitar player.
Yeah.
Which in retrospect now is a joke. I mean, I could never be that. I don't know what I was thinking, but my wife, Melanie and I, we needed a place to stay. And the only person I could think of was Danny Amos. He had a big house. He didn't have a family. So we stayed with Danny for a month to get on our feet. And I said to him, let's get Jimmy over here and play the old songs, you know, the Straitjackets. And I was doing it just as a favor to stay there because Danny, at this point, he had a pretty good gig at Nashville Now, the TV show that was going on. He was like the stage manager or something.
Okay.
And, but unbeknownst to me, he was having a midlife crisis. He didn't want to get out of that. He wanted to get in a band, a tour.
Yeah, sure.
You know? So we're getting there. We're rehearsing at his house a couple times a week, and we find Scott Esbeck to join us to play bass. So we record. Danny said, "Let's go and record these songs." I said, "Okay." We recorded at Alex the Great studio.
Oh yeah,
and Brad Jones.
That place is still going strong.
Yeah, and he said, "Hey, my friend Ben Vaughn is going to be staying at my house. Is it okay if he produces it?" I thought, "Yeah, I don't care, whatever." You know, to me, I'm thinking this is just for fun. Los Straitjackets. It's not serious. I wasn't serious about it. I thought we'd play once in a while for our friends, but really, Danny took the ball and ran with it. He got Ben Vaughn to produce it, and what that led us to getting a record deal because Ben had some connection
based off of that recording.
Yeah, based on that recording, we got with a very small subsidiary of it was part of Rounder Records. It's called Upstart.
Okay,
they let these three guys at Rounder have their own label called Upstart. Jake Gralnick, Glenn Dicker, and Chris Cody. And so, Jake is now our manager. Glenn Dicker now owns Yep Rock Records, which is the label we're on. Yeah. And Chris Cody is a friend of ours still in Boston. But
okay, so that worked out pretty well.
But the funny story was, Jake tells the story, like, they put out all these, they decided no more instrumental records. They put out all these, like in the Cosmonauts and Ty School Del Rey's, and we're done with this. But they got our tape, and they were like, "Okay, this is too good." You know, that's the story. So we had a record label, and they helped.
So did they license the record that you'd already made, or did you have to?
We sold it to them. Was foolishly. I wish we had kept it because we made that record for $2,000. But Danny paid for it. None of us had money, but he had money. We made it for $2,000 or something. And they bought it, and now Concord Music owns it, and we can't get it back.
Oh, right.
So many songs got licensed off of that for TV shows and commercials, man.
And you didn't get anything?
Oh yeah, we got some of it. We got
okay.
songwriting and stuff, and we would have done a lot better if we owned it.
Well, you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
and we weren't expecting anything. I didn't expect anything. Like I said, and
so was that record done like super quickly?
Oh yeah,
couple days kind of thing. Yeah, just live. You set up live.
Yeah, we set up live. We basically did it one day, and then Danny came back and did some fixes. And then it was mixing, took it however long. Yeah. But the basic 90% of it was done in one day. Yeah.
So which record is that?
That's Utterly Fantastic and Totally Unbelievable Sound of Los Straitjackets.
That's a wicked record.
Yeah. We've been recording that. We've been rehearsing for months, just for fun. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I had no intention of doing that. I was doing everything. I just thought I'm going to do whatever it takes to be in the music business, to make a living in music. So my wife Melanie was booking me stuff in Europe. I was touring with Ronnie Dawson and Planet Rockers. I was going to all over the place. So in between that, I'd be with Los Straitjackets with Danny, and he was doing all his machinations behind the scene. So he went out and bought a van, and next thing we know, we're touring. We got a record out. We go on tour, and we toured. We lived in that van for about 3 years, man. I mean,
hardcore.
And
were you going all over the country at that point?
Yes, all over. The very first tour, I think. we went to Florida, Texas, California, wound up in Montana.
So did you feel that, like, I don't know what was happening exactly at that time. Like, I first heard about you guys probably like not long after that, even up in Canada. I don't know if you were touring in Canada, but was there were you being embraced by the rockabilly scene, or was there a surf scene, or what was happening?
There was a surf. It seemed like every city we went to, a surf band opened for us.
Really?
Yeah. We go to Dayton, Ohio, man. It'd be the surf band. It was because of Pulp Fiction had just come out.
Oh, of course. Yeah,
Pulp Fiction. So it'd be like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Manor Astroman. Our very first gig in town was opening for Manor Astroman at Lucy's Record Store, which is long gone. It was down on Church Street, I think. And I remember we're getting ready to go start. We said, should we wear these wrestling masks? I don't know, man. Our friends are going to laugh at us.
Who had the luchador
Danny
mask?
Amos had the wrestling mask.
He did.
Danny Amos had been going to Mexico City every time he had the chance, it seemed, like 3 or 4 times a year.
He just dug it.
Yeah, he's living there now. He wound up living in Mexico. That's how much he digs it. So he had the box of wrestling masks, and in the rehearsal room, and we thought, they look cool. Maybe we should wear those, you know? That's all the thought that's put into it. And it was the wisest thing ever, or luckiest thing that ever happened to us. Totally gave me a career, let's face it. I mean, and it was just a dumb luck, really. And so we started touring with that. And here's another story I always like to tell about the music biz and what bands should know. Our very first tour, so we got the record label, and they were setting up in-stores for us whenever they could, you know. And so they set up an in-store. Our first gig's in Atlanta. So we go, it's a record store in a suburban mall in Atlanta. Mm-hmm. We show up and they're like lugging our shit through the mall. And we're like, you know.
I've done that.
And then we get to the record store. Nobody's in there but a couple of kids looking at rap records, you know. But there was one guy paying attention. And he said to us when we're done, "Hey, man, I really like you guys. My name's Pete Droge.
Oh, wow.
And I'm on tour with Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. We're playing in town." And then we said, yeah. Well, we're playing at the Star Bar tonight. Yeah, okay, good. And then that was it. And that night, they all show up at our gig. Everybody but Tom Petty, the Heartbreakers showed up.
Wow.
Met Mike Campbell.
Awesome.
And Mike Campbell flipped over us because he loves.
I bet.
Yeah. He loves. He loves. That's how we started out in the Ventures. You know. So we became fast friends with Mike, and he said, you know, get in touch with me when you get to L.A. So we're on this tour, going to Florida, you know, Texas, New Mexico, and each stop is getting a little bit more grim, you know, less and less people.
Really? Yeah.
You know, we get to Albuquerque on 4th of July, and like the owner just says, no, don't even bother playing, nobody's showing up.
Oh, my God.
So now.
What year would this be? 94, 95?
95, I think. It could have been 96, but I think 95. And so the bass player Scott he's calling back to Nashville looking for a gig, you know.
Yeah.
But we get to L.A. and all of a sudden we're the taste of the week.
Really?
Yeah, because we've been written up in the L.A. Weekly. It's the thing to go see, right? So we're playing at the Alligator Lounge, and wow! And our fortunes just flipped like that. As far as now, our morale was up, you know. And Mike Campbell came to it, and he brought that Jackson Brown, and
wow, that's so cool.
Yeah, celebrities started things. So that got us going through, and we started. And then Mike wound up getting us a few gigs opening up for Tom Petty. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, you did that, eh? Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, we were on that Fillmore show that they just did some kind of box set. Tom Petty at the Fillmore. It was 25 years ago. Mike, we were on 2 of those shows.
Oh, wow, cool.
But anyway, so we just started touring nonstop, you know. And I remember thinking one day, wow, I'm making a living doing this, you know. I was probably making $500 a week or something. You know? I thought, that's okay. I think we're doing this. And then things. It was always like a slow trajectory upward. You know, it was never up fast and down, but just kind of slow and steady. Like I remember the first time I got a song in a movie, I thought, wow, it's great. It was Harriet the Spy, and it paid more money than I'd ever seen in my life. You know, I was like, holy cow, this is where the money is in this business. You know?
No kidding. Eh?
Yeah. And things like that started happening. And little things, one at a time, we wound up doing a record with Eddie Clearwater.
Yeah.
Chief Clearwater.
How did that happen?
That's a good question. I don't know. I mean,
like, had you run into him?
No,
I used to see him all the time up in Vancouver. He used to come to this bar called the Yale, like the blues bar in Vancouver. And I'd go see Eddie Clearwater all the time. I love that guy.
Yeah. Our manager, I don't know how it happened. It has something to do with Rounder Records. The label is somehow associated with Rounder. But
what was the idea? Like putting him in a different context?
I don't know. That's a good question, man. I don't know.
And also, why can't I find that record anywhere?
Oh man, that's a drag.
I know it exists, but it's
really?
Not on. It's not on Apple
online?
or anything.
Wow, it's not on Spotify or anything. Wow, I got to look into that. I don't know who owns it. But we got nominated for a Grammy.
Yeah.
I mean, we were driving to a gig one day, and I got a phone call. Hey, you guys are nominated for a Grammy. I'm like, what? For what?
So what was that session like? Like
Eddie Clearwater?
Yeah.
Well, we did that at George Bradford's studio.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I was up there a few weeks ago. Yeah.
It was really relaxed, really loose, you know. And Eddie Clearwater was totally cool, man. He's such a great...
So he didn't know you guys?
No.
Did he know what kind of music you played or anything?
I don't know.
He just walked in and he was like, okay, here's
He showed up at my house one day.
Crazy.
And scared the shit out of my little kid. But I don't know what he knew. You know, we never. I was, you know.
Was it a good session? Like,
Yeah.
And Brad Fute engineered
very good
it
because, you know, Eddie Clearwater essentially could be like Chuck Berry.
Right.
So it was like, again, to me, it was like it was totally in my wheelhouse. You know.
Yeah.
It wasn't like I was playing with something unusual. It was way in my wheelhouse. We just played rock and roll and bluesy. He recorded one of my songs.
Awesome.
I had written called "Stuck in Lonesome Town," and he turned it into a blues song. But he was just a guy, man. He was dripping with soul. You know? I mean, we wound up doing a few gigs with him.
Yeah, so that didn't turn into like a long touring situation or anything?
Well, we did a few gigs when we played like the Cognac Blues Festival. That was pretty cool.
Wow.
And a few other blues festivals. And nothing else happened, but I just remember playing with him. It was like a lesson, man. You know, it's just this guy's.
He's got it.
Can't. Yeah, you either have that or you don't.
He's from
man.
like Louisiana or something, wasn't he?
Yeah, probably Mississippi or Alabama, but yeah, he could play Chuck Berry, man. You know.
Yeah.
And
I saw him do
he
that.
would milk like a Chuck Berry song. I'd watch him do the same riff for 5 minutes, but he made it work, you know.
Yeah.
And he was so the sessions were very, you know, and we're recording at George's is so.
Is it where it is now in this house in the basement there?
Yeah, there.
That place is cool.
It was so
man.
comfortable being there, you know, like it's like being in your living room. But I never thought in a million years anything was going to happen with it. But I was always so busy. I was always touring, and I never had time to stop and think, well, how'd this happen? Why'd this happen? You know, I don't know.
How much were you guys gone, like in a year, at that point?
Man, I don't know exactly, but
like over half the year.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Probably 3/4 of the year.
Dang.
I think. Yeah.
And was it progressing pretty good?
Yeah, it was progressing.
Yeah.
It wasn't fantastic. You
were playing rock clubs essentially.
Yeah, we're playing rock clubs, and for a couple 100, 200 people.
Yeah,
that's still what it is. As we play with Nick Lowe, or in some markets we might get 400.
Yeah,
on a weekend, but then this last tour sometimes it's 150, 200. So it's that kind of music. It's like, and sometimes it's kind of it's discouraging. But then I think to myself, well, you know, people like Mose Allen at the end of their career, or Marty, they're probably playing for 150 people too. You know,
hey man, 150 people, that's an audience.
Sneeze, I don't know.
Yeah,
but sometimes after 30 years, you want more. But anyway, so yeah, we're just playing rock clubs, and
so tell me about making records for you. Like, had you learned? Tell me a bit about getting like a great surf guitar tone, because you've cracked the code.
Well, I'm fortunate to have this Pete Curry in the band. He's the guy with the gear, man. He's got Fender. You know, he's got the Jaguars and Jazzmaster and.
What
Tellys.
do you have?
I have a Telly and a Strat, but they're like. My Telly and Strat are like made by Tex Rubinowitz. You know, they're not in that Fender. I've got my nicest guitar is a 335 Gibson I've had since I was 14.
And do you use those guitars?
Use that. No, I don't use that. No,
so
I use all Pete's guitars.
You do? Okay.
Oh, yeah. He's got the best amps. And,
what about on tour? Whose guitar?
Well, on tour we use the Pintos. Those are like our Mose rides, you know.
Right.
They're identified with us, and we use deluxe reverb amps. You know,
you do
reissue deluxe.
You take them with you, or do you backline them?
We take them with us most of the time. I mean, unless it's a festival, then
So in the studio, you use his like Mustangs and Jags and things like that are.
Yeah, never used a Mustang, but Jag, you know, he's got 61, you know. This and that, you know. He's got all really great vintage gear.
And you don't mind using someone else's guitars?
No, I mean it's a great sound. He's got these, you know. We like a little Princeton amp. You know, I would use, you know.
Yeah.
Sometimes, or it could be a Princeton amp, or it could be a Bandmaster, or it could be a Vox. You know.
And so, what about like arranging for two guitars? Like that's something that you guys do so well. And let's talk about the new record. Like I know we're sort of skipping around, but that's okay.
Yeah.
So. The new record is like, I don't think there's a single song over 3 minutes. So it's like you guys are still doing that format.
Right.
You've stayed true to that. But meanwhile, the sound has kind of progressed and whatever. But you're still doing like very like catchy instrumental tunes that are essentially based around like two guitars.
Yeah.
And that drum sound, like that's a big part of it too, obviously.
Well, I think what distinguishes us is me and Greg, the other guitar player on this record, think of ourselves as songwriters, not hotshot guitar players.
Okay.
Again, it goes back to the Beatles. Our frame of reference has probably always been the Beatles and how to form a song, you know. And you'd always want to have something that's ear candy, something that you want to keep. Like Telstar is a perfect instrumental, man. It's just something. So we never went for guitar pyrotechnics. It was just we're trying to find, and there's different kinds of instrumentals. I mean, some are melodic, and some are just like a riff or like Wipeout, or and some are atmospheric, like song like Rumble. But I guess when we get together, it's just more like if the Beatles were an instrumental band, I guess, and they're just writing songs.
It's a cool way to think about it.
Yeah, that's what I think that's subconsciously what we're thinking.
How do you write your tunes? Do you come up with all the parts and kind of like piece them out between you, or do you write them together, or how do you do it?
Well, it varies. I always think myself, I'm pretty lazy. I don't work. I don't like working very much, but what I like to do is. I always, when I'm home, I have to have a guitar in my hand, like you probably do. But my go-to guitar is a nylon string Yamaha. It's a cheap guitar, but I love playing it. And I love, my favorite thing in the last few years has been to go to a fake book with old standards in it, like from the 20s and 30s and 40s.
Yeah.
And learn how to figure out an arrangement to play the melody with a nice harmonic thing. And that's been really helpful, for songwriting, I think.
Okay.
And then after I do that, I'll just noodle around, and if I come up with something, I'll record it. But
so you kind of do demos and things like that. That's how you start.
Yeah, but I'm not very sophisticated. I mean, I'll put an idea on my phone, and if the biggest demo I'll do is, I do have like a drum set and stuff at my house. When I'll have my wife play drums, which is like having the drummer from the Cramps or something.
Okay, cool. That's awesome.
But it's very cool at times, Yeah. So for instance, I demoed this one song from Jet Set. It's called Aerostar, and I had this song, and it was a song I'd been. A lot of times I'll noodle around on the nylon string. I think this can't be an instrumental. It's just it doesn't sound like an instrumental to me, But then when you put it to a certain, I go upstairs and my wife play a drum beat, and all of a sudden it sounds like it might be an instrumental. So that's what happened at Aerostar. And so we demoed it with her playing drums, and she just played this simple beat the whole time, no fills, nothing.
Perfect.
And that was I said, that's the hook, man. That's what makes this thing hypnotic,
Yeah.
And then when we did the record, I had to tell our drummer that, you got to play it. That's just like my wife played the demo,
Yeah.
But he was cool with it, and that's really what makes it work. So yeah, that's the extent of my demoing at my house, but we get together as a band, and it's tricky because we all live different places.
Yeah, where does everyone live?
Well, I'm the only one in Nashville. Greg was up in Rochester, New York, and the other two guys were in L.A.
So how long has Greg been in the band for?
Over 10 years.
Okay. And he was just like a great foil for you, like guitar-wise?
Oh, no, he's more than that. He's really a talented guitar player, and really has good ideas.
Well, how did that happen?
Well, we just knew he had a band called the High Risers in Rochester, and me and my wife Melanie have a record label called Spin Out, and we never meant to have a real record label. It's just to put some fun stuff out. I did it, and my friends. And we put some of the High Risers records out. So we knew him like that. And that's where our second drummer came from that band, Jason Smay. He was in the High Risers. So it's just, that was our circle of friends. And so when Danny left the band because of health reasons in 2010, so that's how long he's been in the band, 15 years, we asked Greg, and he's been fantastic. But he's retired now, so there's a lot of changes going on. I'll talk to you about it later. But yeah, he's got a lot of great. Here's for instance, on the new record, Polaris. Yeah, it was a song that same kind of thing. I noodled around in my nylon string and came up with. I thought it was a cool song. And then we would get together when we were going to record. We'd get together at Pete's studio. Pete has a studio. Okay, we record a lot of our stuff there. It's Powell Fun Room. And
this is Pete Curry.
Pete Curry, yeah, the bass player. So I brought that one to the table, but Greg took it and tweaked it and came up with a really cool way of playing it. And it sounds like it doesn't even sound like a guitar. Yep, it sounds like harmonics or something. Yeah, and so that's how things come together sometimes. You know, you just don't know. Now I'm trying to think of some other ones like. A song like, there's a song called Numbskull, just to give you another example. There's times when, I'm a big fan of primitive rock and roll. You know, like I love, like one of my favorite records is Jungle Rock by Hank Mizell, and I love the fact that that song became a hit on the radio in England in like 1970, even though it was from the 50s. And so I thought, I want something as cool as Jungle Rock, you know.
Yeah.
but also maybe as cool as Wipeout to me is like the ultimate riff guitarist. You know?
Is that the model for the songs where you shout out the title?
Yeah,
like Numbskull's one of those.
Yeah,
Bad Apple is another one.
Bad Apple is
that gets a shout out, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's a shout out. Yeah, but it's more sophisticated than But Spin Out is another one.
Oh yeah,
Spin Out's like another off the new record. That's completely like from that school of like primitive rock and roll instrumentals. And I love that stuff. I love when the sax player sounds like he's only been playing 6 months. You know, like Wild Weekend or something. And
who plays vibes on the record?
Well, so we recorded some of the record was recorded in L.A. at Pete's studio, but a lot of it was recorded.
Oh, he's in L.A.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. A lot of it was recorded in Chicago with a studio called Reliable Recorders. A guy named Alex Hall, and that's where J.D. McPherson recorded.
Oh yeah.
And the Cactus Blossoms.
Okay.
So it's a really nice, comfortable studio, and Alex, he's a great musician. He's a great drummer, and so he played vibes on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a nice touch.
Yeah.
It really comes through in a great way. Yeah.
I always liked records that had like vibes on or
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
There's that whole history of that in Nashville too, like with Charlie McCoy and whoever those other guys were playing on like 60s instrumental records. There's a lot of vibes.
Yeah. But that's a studio where we recorded a lot of Nick Lowe's last record, Indoor Safari. A lot of it was done in
Chicago.
In Chicago, yeah.
Okay.
So Nick has become a real fan of
So
Alex
tell me about
Hall.
like as an outsider that, I'm a fan of your band, I'm a fan of Nick Lowe. It's a bit of an odd combo when you just think about it, because Nick's recent stuff up until he started working with you guys was like really on the acoustic quiet side, I would say, although sometimes not, but that was the general gist of it. But then you guys do an instrumental record of all Nick Lowe songs.
Yeah, right.
Is that how the whole thing started?
Oh, no. We've been working with Nick for a while when that happened.
Okay.
The collaboration with Nick started. We had the same manager, Jake Goralnik, and the same record label, Yep Rock.
Yep.
So we met Nick. Well, I had met him before here in Nashville years ago with a friend, Paul Kennerly, but officially we met at this. Yep Rock had a 15-year anniversary party, and a lot of the artists were there, and we backed up Nick for a few songs.
What year would that have been?
Man,
like around 2010 kind of thing?
Earlier than that. Probably,
okay.
Because maybe 2010. It might be right, because we started working with him in 2014. Yeah. So it's somewhere between 2010 and 2014. So the Christmas of 2014, he put out a Christmas record.
Yep.
And he wanted to do a tour, and it was sort of like a litmus test, I think.
So you think he might have had it in the back of his mind?
Well, I think Jake, our manager, probably talked to him, put something in his mind. So what happened to Nick was he had a band. He had been touring with a band of English guys, and the drummer had passed away, Bobby Irwin, and I think that was a big blow to Nick.
Yeah.
And so he was looking to do something different, I think, with different guys. And so I think that might have been part of the thinking. And so, and knowing Nick, he likes, quirky things, and he's got a sense of humor, it's obvious in his career, And I always say, I gotta give him credit, man. He went so far on a limb.
Yeah, I think so.
Joining up with us. I mean, he could have looked foolish,
Well, I don't think he was going to look foolish, but it is a pretty wild left turn for a guy like that who, he's very established and he's been around a long time, and that's a thing.
Yeah,
picking up an established surf band as your
but he had some. But I think it's worked out really well, and one of the reasons I think it's worked out well that I hadn't thought, but we kind of take away the age factor. Okay, we could have way better musicians, but they'd all be 60 and 70 years old, and it's different, I mean, I realized that when I saw Rod Stewart. He had all these young girls in the band, and it makes you forget that Rod Stewart's 80 years old or something.
Right. Yeah.
So I think that's part of it. I don't know if that was part of his thinking, but I think that's what it does a little bit. And I think he likes the idea that we're like just a unit, we're like this one thing, because we have mass. There's no individual thing going on. It's a unit. He loves the fact that we play these quirky guitars. We're not playing expensive Fenders, and we got these little amps. He said, "How do you guys get that sound out of that little amp?"
So what are you playing with?
Deluxe reverbs.
Okay.
But it doesn't matter what we're playing. We play in a stadium or something. It's still a deluxe reverb.
Where do those guitars come from?
So DePinto is a guitar shop in Philly, Philadelphia,
and they custom made them.
Well, you can buy them. I mean, you can buy the exact guitar that we have from DePinto.
Okay.
It's a mom and pop shop, Chris DePinto. He just designed them and has them made in Korea or somewhere. But we like the look of them. I mean, remember, I don't know about you, when I was a kid, when I went to look at the guitar in the window, the one with the most bells and whistles,
totally.
right? 4 pickups. That's got to be better.
18 switches. I'll take that. Teisco over a Strat.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So we loved to look at it. I mean, before that, we were playing Fenders. I was playing a Strat, a reissue Strat, and Danny would play a Jazzmaster. But we liked the idea of having matching guitars.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
It's sort of like the Ventures. And our whole thing was always, the performance thing has always been to kind of be vintage entertainment, what a band from 1960 would do. Matching outfits, matching guitar, goofy choreography, and that was just our aesthetic,
So tell me about making that new Nick Lowe record, Indoor Safari. So that came out last year, or 2020?
Came out a year ago,
I guess.
I think, yeah.
And you did that mostly in Chicago?
Mostly Chicago. When we were on tour with Nick, we've been touring with him constantly since 2014.
Does he still live over in the UK?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's in London.
Yeah.
And
do you ever go over there and play with him?
Oh, yeah.
You do?
We played the London Palladium with him.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
I tell people I've played in Dives, and I played in London Palladium. That was a real thrill, yeah.
So how does a record with him come about? Does he just calls you and says, it's time, I've got a thing? Because you've done 2 of his records now, right?
He what?
You've done 2 of his records now, right?
Well, what started out, we would on tour with him, and when the tour would end up somewhere, we'd go in the studio for it and maybe do 2 to 4 songs. Okay. Like in St. Louis, we did a couple like that. A couple in New York like that. A couple in Woodstock. Mm-hmm. And Yeprug was putting out little EPs and stuff. Yeah. But then I think they felt like they wanted to have a whole album, full album of new songs. So I think some of the stuff comes from the previous record, but a lot of it was we recorded in Chicago a year or 2 ago at the studio I was telling you about. But it's fun. Recording with Nick was fun. He's very, it's loose. He's very loose and very Does he like? Do you guys discuss the dynamic at all? Like,
not much. I mean, because he really just lets you be Los Straitjackets.
He loves the fact that we're a band. Mm-hmm. He doesn't want us to be backup musicians.
Right. He wants to.
He could hire way better backup musicians than us. So he wanted to make that kind of record.
No, I see what you're saying.
I always describe us as a poor man's rock pile now. That's what. But yeah, he lets us go. I mean, if there's something that he'll have a suggestion and say, try doing this, and he's had a bunch of those, and we all kick around.
Do you pretty much do it live?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. Does he sing it live?
Yes, but yeah, he does, but he might. If he doesn't like it, he'll redo it. But he tries.
He's such a great singer, man.
Oh, man. He always sings in tune.
And on that new record, his voice sounds so good, too.
Yeah. It's all it's kind of like loose and relaxed,
And what about guitar sounds for you these days? Do you get hung up on the guitar tone like on a record? Or do you just stick a mic in front of the amp and
stick a mic in front of the amp?
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, I try to get a good tone.
Yeah.
But...
so when you're in Chicago and not at home, are you bringing in amps or anything, or are you just getting a deluxe in there and doing what you're used to?
Well, a little bit of both. When we were in Chicago, we were very fortunate. Alex is friends with Wilco.
Oh, okay.
And about their studio? They got all this equipment. Yeah. So they let us borrow some stuff. Okay. But we still were mainly recording through Fender Deluxes, and there was a few oddball amps in there. There was I can never remember. There's a National, and there's...
Yeah, National's got some good 60s amps.
Yeah, sure. And what was the other one that was... it was a Magnatone something. It sort of had a Leslie effect.
Yeah, like that vibrato that Magnatones have.
Yeah. So those, but we prefer just,
keep it
simple, yeah. There were some, and mainly Fender guitars, and some, like there was a...
What do you use for reverb? Because you got that wicked springy... springy.
Most of the reverb's from the amp.
Yeah. Because it sounds like I'm used to Fender springy reverb being shorter, or being longer than what I hear on your records. I hear like a really short kind of springy.
I wonder if some of it might be that Alex put on. It might have been that.
Yeah.
Now, Pete has a Fender reverb tank that we would use on some
like
stuff.
An external tank.
Yeah, we'd use that at Pete's house. But Alex didn't have that. But I think Alex added some reverb on the board sometimes.
It's definitely spring because it's got that sound. But it sounds like a short spring. It's cool. Yeah. It's so cool.
See, that's the stuff I don't even know about.
Okay.
Just plug in. Yeah. But there were some funky guitars there. Well, we had a Epiphone Casino. There was a Nacho Telly. Are you familiar with Nacho Tellys? They're really nice, man.
They are nice. They're expensive, too.
Yeah.
For a Telly, yeah.
Yeah. But there was a funky guitar, a Framus, however you say it, hollow body that I picked up. There's one of those guitars that won't stay in tune, but you might be able to get one pass at it.
Yeah. Like a mid-60s
Framus. Right, mid-60s, semi-hollow body. Yeah. But they get this funky sound and you're not going to get out of a Gibson or a Fender. Yeah. And I used that on that song, Virgon.
Okay.
The solo. It sounds real woody to me. Like, I saw the way I can explain it. It's a sound that I can't get out of a good guitar, in a way, so to speak.
And when you're doing that kind of stuff, like your parts sound to me like you're composing solos, but maybe you're not. I don't know. Do you do that? Do you sit there and kind of like work them out?
Yeah, that was composed solo in Virgon. Yeah, that was definitely.
And do you do that on the spot, or do you kind of get an idea for that stuff
was a
before
mix.
you go in?
Part of it I had worked out, but part of it I did on the spot.
Yeah,
that's just a blip, blip, blip. I do this. I call it my blip blop guitar. I play with my thumb.
Yeah,
and Nick gets a kick out of it. It works every time. It just sounds. Blip, 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 blip.
Were you ever much of a fingerstyle player?
No, not really. No, not really. I mean, I have my own. I have my own kind of style of finger picking.
Yeah,
but it's.
You always use a flat pick, though.
Yeah, with Los Straitjackets. Yeah. But
And then when you guys do shows with Nick Lowe, does he, like, I haven't seen that show. I want to, but it's just, I haven't, for whatever reason, I haven't seen you with him. Does he give you a Los Straitjackets part of the show?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we do 4 or 5 songs in the middle.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. He's very generous, and he doesn't care. He's got a lot of confidence, That's one thing. The hallmarks of Nick are like sense of humor and confidence. I mean, that's the two things.
What about volume? He's such a quiet singer, it sounds like. Do you have to adjust your stage volume?
Not really. I mean, we play at the same volume we play at, Yeah,
you're not tremendously loud.
No, we're not loud. I mean, I have a deluxe maybe at 5, no more than 5. I mean, between 4 and 5.
Still, that can kick out some
it gets kind of loud.
but that's not really a factor.
No, there's never been a factor with him.
Yeah.
And he doesn't wear any ear things, man. I can't. I've had tinnitus for 20 years, man. I envy any musician who doesn't have it.
I don't know anyone.
You don't have it?
I do.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, in my right
Nick
ear.
Nick doesn't. I don't know how he's managed to avoid that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you, like, aware of all the stuff that's coming up with Nick Lowe, or does that stuff get kind of sprung on you, or is that kind of more long-term
No,
planned?
Right now it's well, I'm going to Spain next week. We just got 3 dates in Spain, like a festival or something.
Awesome.
And after that, it's going to be sprung on me. I don't know what's going to happen. Because we're going through some changes, Like our bass player Pete just retired.
Like retired from
performing,
everything?
from touring, yeah.
Okay.
So we're using a new bass player in Spain. We want to see how it works out.
Who is it? A guy from Spain?
He's from that band, the High Risers. I mean, now all 3 of them have been. Wow. So his name's Todd Bradley. He's a great musician.
You haven't played with him yet, though?
No.
Okay.
Spain's the first time, and we rehearsed with him.
Wow.
So going forward, it's going to be different. We're going.
Yeah.
And Greg Townsend, he's sort of he's retired too from the 4-piece. He'll do Nick Lowe stuff, but he doesn't want to tour either much with the 4-piece. So we're going to be using like sub guitar players and bass players for a while.
Okay.
Probably for I don't know.
And what's your schedule like with Los Straitjackets? Like, how much are you guys playing these days?
Well, we just got finished with a 2-week. This was a really busy year. Next year, there's a few things on the books. But that's things fill in,
Yeah,
we're doing.
Do you want it to be?
Well,
do you want to be gone?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm ready to slow down.
Yeah.
I'm at that point.
Yeah.
It's a mix. It's a mixed feeling, It's part of it. I love. It's a love-hate affair,
Totally. Yeah.
But we do have a 2-week tour in March with Deke Dickerson. that we're doing. That
Awesome.
It's going to be
Are you
fun.
playing around here with that?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Tell me quickly about making that crazy record.
That thing, man.
Deke Dickerson sings the instrumental hits or whatever.
Yeah. That was Deke's idea.
So did he write lyrics to all those songs?
No, those songs all had lyrics.
Is it really?
Yeah. When a song like Wipeout would come out, somebody would say, I'm going to try to cash in on it, or any one of those songs. Those are songs.
There's all of those songs already had lyrics.
Well, no. There's two of them that were Los Straitjackets songs, Fury and Kawanga. And my friend Mark Winchester. Do you know Mark Winchester, bass player?
I know who he is, but I don't know him.
He's a great lyricist.
Okay.
And he wrote lyrics to that. And I don't know how he did it. It amazes me that he was able to write lyrics to a song called Kawanga.
But he did it.
Or Fury. He did it, though.
What about Popcorn?
There was
Are those lyrics those existed?
They existed.
Really?
Every other song had lyrics that existed. But something
crazy.
Else, not the person who wrote the original song. Somebody else would try to cash in. You know what I mean?
There's a version out there somewhere of somebody. Okay.
It's crazy, man. But all the songs had.
What about Walk Don't Run?
They had lyrics.
So there
not the Ventures. Someone tried to cash in on it and write lyrics to it, and that's what. So
he came to you and said, "All these songs have lyrics from these crazy versions. Let's do a record."
Yeah.
And you'd probably played with Deke a bunch, or
we had played with Deke. Mm-hmm. We were in the same circles.
Yeah, I bet.
Deke and Big Sandy. We toured and recorded with both of those guys. So anyway, it's just earlier this year we did an underground garage cruise. I don't know if you heard about that, but
no.
And we did that with Deke. We did a set with Deke, and it went over so well. We decided to try to we're going to tour with it. See how it goes. It was like a.
Is it you guys backing him up doing his tunes, or what is it?
Yeah, and both. We do some of our songs, and and it was just like a hit parade of like garage and surf songs,
Yeah.
Nothing obscure, really. I mean, Journey to the Stars is probably the obscurest song we did. But we did. I don't even remember what we did, but it was him singing, a mix of singing and instrumentals, and he's quite a character. I don't know if
he is, man.
Yeah,
I don't know him personally, but I mean I've seen him play.
He's
a few
wealth
times.
of information.
He is, yeah.
But we got that, and I have a few festivals throughout.
What kind of festivals do you mostly play?
Well, me personally, have rockabilly festivals. I got a couple of rockabilly festivals. One in France, one in Spain. But Los Straitjackets.
When you say you personally, what do you mean?
Well, I can do a thing at Eddie Angel's guitar party where I can do a festival. It's basically Los Straitjackets. What's me doing I have songs I've written. I have a couple. I've had repertoire from Los Straitjackets, the Planet Rockers, and I have a garage band called the Neanderthals. Okay. And I had songs that I can sing. Songs like Ball Buster Baby and Werewolf from Outer Space. Songs like that. Anyway. Or I go with Sonny, the singer from the Planet Rockers. We'll go do a rockabilly festival. But Los Straitjackets, we're going to play a tiki festival in Florida.
I was going to ask you about that because there's a whole tiki
we'll play
scene.
Tiki festivals and stuff. Yeah.
So that's something you've done quite a bit of.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, we've done a bunch of tiki festivals.
Because that kind of there's a crossover between the rockabilly guys and the tiki scene.
I think we played every tiki festival that I know of.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm very curious about that.
They're fun, They're fun. They're basically.
Where are the big ones?
There's one in San Diego, Tiki Oasis.
That's the one I've heard of.
And this one in Florida is pretty big, Tiki A Go-Go.
How often do you play them? Like every couple of years?
There's usually something like that. It might be one a year turns up,
What other bands play them? Is it mostly surf bands?
Surf bands or like exotica bands. There's some bands out there doing exotica stuff. I'm bad with names and my memory's bad, but trying to think. I mean, Deke Dickerson would be at them, that's for sure.
Yeah.
People but there's no.
And how many people go to a big tiki festival? I've never seen one.
Let me think. 500 maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, but these rockabilly festivals, there'll be thousands.
Yeah.
Like we play one in Spain called Rock and Race. 3,000. There's one in Las Vegas.
And that's like a total scene.
Oh yeah.
Even in Europe, even in Spain. The audience comes like fully decked out in their rockabilly duds and
wow. Oh yeah,
it's far out, man.
You think you're in 1957?
Where else is that going on in the world?
All over Europe.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. England was sort of like the hotbed of it.
Yeah,
for the
I mean, I
longest
get
time.
that. Spain is, I'm just
Spain's
like
become
amazed.
like the new place because
Really?
they were kind of late to the party with rock and roll, you know, because of they were a dictatorship up until the 70s or something. But now that's the place where everybody wants to go because the weather's nice. You know, you can go there in February.
Are there cool Spanish rockabilly bands, or is it mostly they're just importing American bands?
There are probably a few. I can't think. You know, again, names I'm terrible with. But there's some of these European bands are really great. I mean, not just rockabilly, but like Western swing.
Yeah.
I mean,
bluegrass too.
Bluegrass, yeah. I mean, it's in Japan too.
Have you been to Japan?
Yeah, I went to Japan, and it's been a while.
Because I could totally see that.
Oh yeah,
I could see you guys being big in Japan.
They replicate things. They'll take a band that says replicate and do it better. You know, that kind of thing. We haven't been to Spain at Los Straitjackets. I went years ago with Sonny George, and Nick goes there a lot. And we're really hoping to get there with Nick. You know?
So the Spain thing is just Los Straitjackets. It's not
Spain,
Nick. This trip you're doing.
No, this next is with Los Straitjackets and Nick.
Oh, it is.
Yeah,
okay,
3 festivals.
And is he well known there?
Yeah, he's well known there. I think he's more well known in America.
Yeah,
I think America and probably Canada and England are the biggest places, and Scandinavia.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And do you go there a lot too?
We went there a few times with them. Yeah.
And are there rockabilly festivals that you play at?
I have played rockabilly festivals in Scandinavia.
In what countries?
Oh man,
like Sweden,
yeah,
Finland. Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's like a scene there too.
Yeah.
Like wow.
They'll drive around 50s cars and
love it.
And play 50s records.
What about France?
France, there is. I'm playing rockabilly. I played a rockabilly festival in France, and I'm playing another one. I'm playing the same one next April. Okay. Yeah, France. But France is a country I don't go to as much for some reason. But Germany is a big scene.
Do they tend to have like older bands or young bands, or are you guys sort of like are you guys the elder statesmen now?
Yeah, we're elder statesmen now.
Okay.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, but there's younger bands doing it. Yeah. But we went to where was it? We were in this town in Sweden. I remember it's Umea, Umea. It was the craziest thing, man. There's like the world's the 2 largest Eddie Angel record collectors live in this one town. All right, there's a record store there, and it claims to be the oldest or second oldest record store in existence.
Wow.
Maybe it was. I don't know. That's from Berman's. And we went there, and they had one side of one window was all Nick Lowe related records and paraphernalia, and the left side was all Eddie Angel. And then there was a guitar museum there, and of course we went to that, and there was a whole exhibit on Rockpile. I mean, just people, and there's a book written about Rockpile called "Crawling from the Wreckage" that they're selling, and this one little town. I mean, I think I'd move there if the weather wasn't so bad.
live like a rock star.
Yeah, I know, really.
Yeah. Wow.
But I mean, in America, the big festival is Viva Las Vegas. You've heard of that?
I've heard of it. Yeah.
I mean, it's
like the granddaddy of
so many people there. But that one's not, to me, is not as cool as the European ones. That one's become more like car show and burlesque thing.
Okay.
Where in Europe, it's really
about the music,
more lifestyle thing. You know.
Yeah.
People and look, you get to know a lot of people because they show up at the same things. You know, they might be in Spain and they might be in Germany and the same. Yeah.
When you do your Eddie Angel shows, do you wear your mask?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah. It's become...
You kind of have to wear it now.
Yeah, I got to wear it.
Does it ever get hot and hard to breathe in that thing?
Sometimes. Most of the time I'm used to it, but if you're out inside in the sun, it's hot. Yeah.
Okay. What about in here right now? You've been wearing your mask the whole time.
It's nice and cool in here. Yeah. Okay. But the worst part of it is if you like start choking or something. Like sometimes you breathe in a thread.
Oh yeah.
Choking.
Is it one mask?
I have a few. I have a couple.
Do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like I said, it gave me a career. I was doing this a guitar thing one time, a camp, a guitar camp for jazz But a friend asked me to come in and say a few things and do a class of kids. And I happened to say, I didn't really make a living playing music till I put a wrestling mask on. And the instructor kind of took umbrage at that. Oh, really? Is that all it takes? And I said, hey, I'm just giving you the facts. You can take it, do what you want with it, man.
Yeah.
It's giving me a career.
Well, it's a hell of a career, man. It's really cool.
Yeah, the band's been together 30 years. It's hard to believe.
Damn. So any records on the horizon? You're just kind of waiting to see a little bit how the new
I'm just seeing
lineup
how this
kind of works out. And
I'm really pleased with it. I have to say, I don't...
It's a great record.
Yeah, I don't... Yeah, I think it's our best record. And I say that because we could play any song in that record could fit into our live show. And that's not true of any of other record, We have, but this, and we're already doing 5 songs off it in the live show. Yeah. And so I think, I don't know, it may be our last one. I can't say for sure, but I mean, I feel like it's, things are kind of winding down for, I don't want to tour as much and stuff. And I don't need, I don't think about it, I'm thinking about maybe it's just chilling out more than, what's my next record,
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
Well, cool, man. Well, thanks so much for coming and telling me some of these stories, man.
Right.
This is
Thanks,
really
Steve.
great.
Appreciate it very much. Nice being here.
Yeah, thanks.
All right.
Music Makers and Soul Shakers is a bi-weekly podcast produced at the Hen House Studio in Nashville, Tennessee. Please remember to subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts and follow us on Instagram and Facebook. You can also find us at makersandshakerspodcast.com. Thanks again to our amazing sponsors this season. We couldn't do this without them. Larrivee Guitars, Chase Bliss Pedals, Fab Filter, Odyssey Headphones, Railtown Mastering, Isotope, and the Hen House Hang. And of course, you for listening. We'll see you next time for another episode of Music Makers and Soul Shakers.